NFL Week 15 kickoff times, TV channel info, game breakdowns. Bears, 4-9, at Lions, 7-6. TV, Saturday, 4:30, NFL Network, Mike Tirico, Kurt Warner, Heather Cox. The matchup, the Bears delivered their best performance of 2017, a 33-7 rout of the Cincinnati Bengals. And although it likely won't save Coach John Fox's job, it provides encouraging signs that GM Ryan Pace's plan can work. Rookie's fingerprints were all over the win, with QB Mitch Trubisky tallying 2 TDs and Eddie Jackson notching his second 2-turnover game. Chicago can play spoiler and has a chance for its best season since 2013. The Lions ended a 2-game slide, topping the Tampa Bay Bucs to remain 1 game off the wild card pace and keep their bleak division title hopes alive. More, USA Today Sports Week 15 NFL picks: Chargers, 7-6, at Chiefs, 7-6. TV, Saturday, 8:25, NFL Network, Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Jamie Erdahl. The matchup, when the Chargers were 0-4. They were -3 in turnover differential and the playoffs seemed like a dream. Suddenly, things turned around and they have won 4 in a row in 7 of their last 8. In the 9 games since being 0-4, the Chargers are +13 in turnovers. The Chiefs beat the Oakland Raiders handily last week 26-15 to end a 4-game losing streak. The Chiefs scored on their first 4 possessions and the Raiders' 15 points came in the fourth quarter after the Chiefs led 26-0. Ravens, 7-6, at Browns, 0-13. TV, Sunday, 1, CBS, Tom McCarthy, Steve Buerle, Melanie Collins. The matchup, the Ravens scored on 5 consecutive possessions last week to take a lead on the Steelers, but a short-handed secondary couldn't hold it. Baltimore has the right makeup and enough veteran leadership to recover, but the pass defense remains a major issue. The O-line has developed chemistry and played well after an injury-riddled start, while Alex Collins has emerged as the lead running back. The Browns' winless record forced another change last week as top player personnel executive Sashi Brown was fired and replaced by John Dorsey. However, head coach Hugh Jackson will stay for 2018 despite having 1 win in 2 seasons. Cardinals, 6-7, at Redskins, 5-8. TV, Sunday, 1, Fox, Kenny Albert, Ron Barber, Christina Pink. The matchup, since Week 7, when QB Carson Palmer went down with a broken arm, offense has been a struggle for Arizona. The good news is the defense has some star power, enough to win games by itself at times, as in last week's 12-7 victory over Tennessee. QB Blaine Gabbert, who has come back to earth after a hot start as the starter, scares no one, but CB Patrick Peterson and OLB Chandler Jones scare a lot of offensive coordinators. Washington continues to crumble in what has become a hopeless season. After a second consecutive blowout loss, players and coaches questioned the team's preparation and effort. Eagles, 11-2, at Giants, 2-11. TV, Sunday, 1, Fox, Tom Brenneman, Chris Spielman, Peter Schrager. The matchup, the Eagles are coming off their biggest win of the season, a gutsy comeback at the LA Rams that solidified their spot atop the NFC. But Philadelphia's status is filled with concern after QB Carson Wentz was ruled out for the season with a torn anterior cruciate ligament. That leaves the Eagles' offense and their Super Bowl aspirations in the hands of backup Nick Foles. Giants QB Eli Manning was back under center and coach Ben McAdoo was replaced by interim coach Steve Spagnuolo. And nothing changed. The Giants' offense floundered, the defense made key mistakes that led to big plays and New York lost to the Dallas Cowboys. Dolphins, 6-7, at Bills, 7-6. TV, Sunday, 1, CBS, Beth Mowins, Jay Feely. The matchup, Coach Adam Gase will be using these final 3 games to take a closer look at some of his younger players in order to make decisions about their future. RB Kenyon Drake will be one of those under the microscope. The third-year pro had career highs for carries, 23, and rushing yards, 120, 2 weeks ago and followed up with 25 and 114 versus the Patriots. Bills RB LaShawn McCoy enhanced his reputation for dashing through the snow, gaining 156 yards on a career-high 32 carries in an overtime win against the Indianapolis Colts in a blizzard at New Era Field. Packers, 7-6, at Panthers, 9-4 TV, Sunday, 1, CBS, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews. The matchup, a comeback against the Cleveland Browns, extended the Packers' playoff hopes for QB Aaron Rodgers to return for the first time since he broke his right collarbone October 15. Rodgers has looked great since resuming practice 2 weeks ago and has been cleared by doctors. Without additional secondary reinforcements after losing CB Devin House, back, 1 week after rookie Kevin King was placed on season-ending injured reserve. Carolina ended Minnesota's 8-game winning streak by having their best pass rushing and rushing performances of the season. They're clinging to the 5th postseason spot, but the Panthers are still in NFC South contention after tying the division-leading New Orleans Saints, who hold the head-to-head tiebreaker. Texans, 4-9, at Jaguars, 9-4 TV, Sunday, 1, Fox, Chris Myers, Daryl Johnston, Laura Oakman. The matchup, Houston's last threads of playoff hopes were officially slashed with last week's 26-16 loss to San Francisco. An ugly season turned uglier when QB Tom Savage appeared to have a concussion and was allowed to re-enter the game for an extra series before he was escorted off the sideline. If backup QB TJ Yates replaces Savage, who replaced rookie sensation Deshaun Watson following an ACL tear, he'll be throwing at the league's best secondary in Jacksonville. After leaning heavily on the defense in the first half, Jacksonville's offense finally erupted for a 21-point third quarter to beat the Seahawks 30-24 last week. Bengals, 5-8, at Vikings, 10-3 TV, Sunday, 1, CBS, Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, Evan Washburn. The matchup, the Bengals are going nowhere, and they bottomed out last week when they got run out of their own stadium by the Chicago Bears. Their season had essentially ended 6 nights earlier when they blew a big lead and allowed the Pittsburgh Steelers to rally to win, and the hangover was brutal. But the offense has been brutal for much of the year, and though the defense has been solid, it has been on the field too long. The future doesn't look bright for coach Marvin Lewis, whose contract expires after the season. Their 8-game win streak was ended last week by Carolina, but the Vikings didn't go quietly. They will be energized by returning home and remain in position to eventually score a first-round playoff bye. Jets, 5-8, at Saints, 9-4 TV, Sunday, 1, CBS, Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, Otis Livingston. The matchup, perhaps their non-competitive 23-0 loss at Denver was an aberration, but it might be a portent of things to come as the season winds down for coach Todd Bowles, whose team was held to 100 total yards on 48 snaps, 2.1 yards per play. Getting embarrassed by the Broncos, who had lost 8 in a row, is bad enough, but the Jets also lost starting QB Josh McCown to a potentially season-ending broken left hand. Backup QB Bryce Petty is expected to start this week. After winning 8 in a row and gaining control of the NFC South, New Orleans has lost 2 of its last 3 games after falling on the road to Atlanta on a late field goal Thursday. Rams, 9-4, at Seahawks, 8-5 TV, Sunday, 4:05, Fox, Kevin Burkhardt, Charles Davis, Pam Oliver. The matchup, a loss Sunday would be the Rams' 3rd in 5 weeks and would loosen their grip on the NFC West lead for the first time in about 2 months. The Rams aren't expecting to give up 450 yards of offense as they did against the Philadelphia Eagles, but they'll have to deal with the loss of Skavon Webster, ruptured Achilles tendon. Just as concerning was the way the Rams' offense and QB Jared Goff sputtered during the final 3 quarters of the team's first meeting with Seattle. If the Seahawks' hobble defense couldn't handle Blake Bortles, what's that mean with Goff coming to town? Patriots, 10-3. At Steelers, 11-2 TV, Sunday, 4:25, CBS, Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. The matchup, Patriots QB Tom Brady has dominated Pittsburgh the last decade, averaging 324 passing yards per game while throwing 22 TD passes and 0 interceptions to help the Patriots win 6 of Brady's last 7 starts in the series. But the Patriots must recoup after their 8-game winning streak was ended by the Miami Dolphins. Rob Gronkowski, suspended last week, returns for the Pats. When Pittsburgh struggled early this season, QB Ben Roethlisberger intimated the end of his career might be near. But retirement has been the furthest thing from his mind lately. At 35, Big Ben is as good as ever. In his stirring 39-38 comeback win against the Baltimore Ravens in Week 14, Roethlisberger completed 44 of 66 attempts for 506 yards and 2 TDs. Titans, 8-5, at 49ers, 3:10 TV, Sunday, 4:25, CBS. Andrew Catalon, James Lofton. The matchup, on a collision course with Jacksonville, the Titans might have looked at this month's back-to-back West Coast games as fair-weather primers. But the loss at Arizona and the 49ers' 2-game win streak have made this a tougher game than it once looked. The Titans need to get the running game going again, and QB Marcus Mariota has to take better care of the football. Tennessee has featured one of the NFL's best run defenses for most of the season, and the Titans can't afford to let up. Cowboys, 7-6, at Raiders, 6-7 TV, Sunday, 8:30, NBC. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. The matchup, Dallas has one more game without suspended RB Ezekiel Elliott.